So I mentioned this to you. Here's my underlying question. What is a man? And if it matters, in parentheses, in 2019.
What is a man in 2019? I don't
What?
want to answer this.
I don't know. No, I don't mean trans. I don't mean trans or anything like that. I mean, there's been the book that I'm reading is about, it's called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, right? And it's about the archetypes of...
Got it. You're saying what is masculine?
What is... Sure,
Let's say
masculine.
that. Let's say
what
that.
is masculine?
Not what is a man. What is masculine in 2019?
Yes. And in 2019 might be a needless qualifier. But the thing I told you a little bit about this, the fascinating thing about this book is it talks about the importance of rituals in moving boys to men and how boys to men. And it talks about how in some tribes or in Native Americans, they would have this 13th birthday thing that was intense.
Yeah.
Like you'd be ripped out of your home, covered in fire ants, given some sort of psychedelic brew, left out in the wilderness for 3 days, and then have your foreskin removed, and you would be a man.
Yeah.
At the end of that horrible journey.
Yeah. That sounds exactly like my bar mitzvah. That's exactly what my mom and dad did.
What I remember about bar mitzvahs is when the guy would hold the stick out, and he'd let go, and people would try to catch it, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You never did that
So I was
game?
having flashbacks to fire ants and having my foreskin cut off. You'd put me in a dark place.
All right. Well, what I remember about bar mitzvahs is the guy, you hold a baton.
Yeah.
And then somebody holds their hand right above it. And he says, look, when I'm going to drop it, I'm going to drop it. And you always miss it. Reaction time doesn't work. But whoever the bar mitzvah boy was, he'd go, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it. And somehow he would signal to him. And the bar mitzvah boy would always get it.
Yeah. Interesting. We actually didn't have that at mine.
So you didn't become a man.
No.
You didn't.
I just got drowned in fire ants.
You didn't do the baton trial.
Yeah.
But so it says that these things are important, and then it goes on.
That
which
we've
I
lost
thought,
them. We don't
that we've
have
lost
this
them.
ritual. It's just this random, you're a man now.
Or you're not, or you are, or what is it? So I
don't know. You don't know because you haven't done it. That's the thesis of the book.
That was one of the theses about rituals. And then it said, which I thought was completely crazy. He says, the only thing we have resembling this is gang violence, or are gangs, which is a perversion of this. Because gangs are violent and require you to often hurt other people. And then I looked back at the preceding paragraph where it describes the fire ants and the circumcision and all this. I was like, you don't think that's violent?
Yeah.
Like, what is this whitewashing?
Or you go Sparta, right? Didn't they have to go out in the wild and kill a bunch of animals?
My point is, gangs might be the only vestige of what you're describing. And I'm not saying that we want that. In fact, when I look at it, I go, I don't know that this is the best way.
Yeah, maybe we just shouldn't romanticize
Maybe we shouldn't romanticize all of these rituals. I don't know. But it did make me think, what is masculine? And I don't know. Do you have thoughts or an answer? Does it matter? I don't know.
Well, no, at the end of the day, this was always where I came back with that whole Adam Conover thing.
Yeah.
He tries to say there's no such thing as alpha males and beta males. Which is like, I agree with Joe Rogan. Unless we're just going to completely corrupt the definition of these, there are. If you just define alphas as confident men that most women are attracted to, or you just say an alpha is whoever gets the most mates, or whatever you define, like you just pick a definition, there are. But the question is, why do you want to be an alpha so bad? You know? I know I do because my dad is a hockey player and that's what I was told a man is. But like, that's not to say it's good. That's just to say that's my programming. But no, what do I think is masculine? I mean, a ton of things come to mind. I'll just list them off without trying to be right. Being big and strong, right? Being able to beat people up in a fight, protect your loved ones if you have to, defend the family. Being successful, being confident, being decisive, being chivalrous in the sense that you're paying for whoever you're dating, you know, you're providing financially. What else is masculine? Standing up for people, standing up for yourself. If someone's being bullied, you're the person that gets in the way and goes, hey, not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
That's masculine.
Do you think these things that you're listing, and I know that you're listing them as sort of gut reactions, does your top brain confirm that? Do those rationally clear for you? Because I know that was like...
I don't know. This is just...
That's what your
There's two things I could do. I could try to look good on the podcast, or I could try to answer your questions.
Well, that's what I'm
just going...
So I agree. I think
here's what comes up if you ask me.
We have similar senses
Rorschach
culturally
masculine.
of what masculinity is. And I guess my question is, how does your rationality, does it confirm?
What's the definition of masculine?
I don't know.
Angel, what's the definition of masculine? Can you Google it?
I think it's being normally associated with men, but I think kind of the definition is this is what we steer men towards. And like you're almost judged on how well you hit those things, and you can you'll know where you are in your life, and you'll told to feel as good about yourself as you are on that scale, I think.
That fits my life goals.
Which is why people work hard to be those things.
You saying that's why I volunteered to do a cage fight where I let someone punch me in the face for glory? Is that what you're saying? That doesn't actually make sense to do?
I really just like being punched in the face.
I love it. I love it.
What does it say,
Angel?
Are you ready for an incredibly unsatisfying answer?
Yeah.
Qualities or attributes regarded as characteristic of men.
Sure. And I think, and even circular in that circular answer is that these are desirable things, right?
They have to be. I think we, at least in our culture,
desirable for men to
smelly is not on there.
You
know, that's not part of the definition of masculine, despite the fact that a lot of men are.
Interesting.
No, it's got to be the good ones.
That's really interesting that we don't go, oh wow, that's so masculine. He smells like the strongest BO that I've ever smelled in my life.
What a man.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That it's I've kind of talked about this.
Honestly, another high testosterone trait would be being quick to violence, which is not something we consider masculine. So defending your loved ones is considered masculine, but being a lunatic, just having a really quick
being
trigger,
abusive.
Yeah.
Well, here's you know what might have been masculine in the past: hurting your loved ones, like hitting and just being
in the 50s or something.
Well, who 20s. Are you going to hurt if you're an angry, high T, pissed off person? You're going to hurt the people in your area.
Yeah.
And I'm not. No, I don't even mean within 100 years ago. I mean historically.
I think implicit in the word masculine today is that it's the good stuff. It's not just the stuff that correlates with being a man. It's the stuff that you're supposed to think makes a man a man.
And again, the good stuff, the good being a word that is hypercharged, because what it is
no, it's relative. It's made up. It's whatever. It's you decide.
You are told you can feel good if you embody these traits as a man / boy. And it's just interesting. I was reading this book. I was like, this is, I don't know. I'd like to talk to someone who feels differently. It feels like a strong mechanism of control. It feels like a way to get people to do things that they don't want to do, like get in a fight or pay for everyone around them, or sacrifice their life for their country. Things that
or just sacrifice their life for their family. I saw an interesting thing. You know all the memes where it's like a dog or like the dad's like, I don't want a dog, but then the dad's who loves the dog the most. I was just reading some stuff on Reddit. It's just anecdotal, right? But this dad they were saying, why do dads love their dogs so much? And he's like, I go to work and provide for my family, and that's my job, and I don't mind it. And no one is grateful about it. I do not come home from work with people saying, thanks for giving the last 8 hours of your day doing something you don't want to do so that you can give us food. You just come home and help them with their homework.
Yeah.
And I get it. And I don't mind that because this is my sacrifice. This is my role. But when I come home, the dog is stoked. And it's the only one that I feel like is giving me my thank you.
Yeah.
For completely sacrificing your day for the family. And again, it's just an anecdote. It's just one guy. Some families are very grateful. But I think it's just an interesting look into the lives of some men who are pursuing this masculine thing of I'm gonna give up myself. I'm gonna give of myself.
And why would I do that? Well, not because I'm getting thanks, because I'm not.
Yep.
Not because I'm getting this.
Not because I like it. Not because it's fun.
And I think
because I'm a man.
important.
And this is the role of a man.
Not because it's a timeless ideal either. That's what we're kind of saying, is that obviously this definition of masculinity, while there might be a core that has remained similar, has shifted over the historical.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it used to be masculine, just murder and
it seems like masculinity is what is best for society to have most men behave like. That seems like what it is. And to me, that is just a control structure that like I don't necessarily want to opt into or sign up for or let control my decision making, lest I have to get punched in the face in order to prove it.
Just to be clear, I'll still pursue it till the day I die or do enough psychedelics. But I'm with you philosophically.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And I think.
Do you think you pursue masculinity? I definitely do. And I think it has to do with my dad. I'm curious if you do.
I have relaxed on it. I mean, I've stopped going to the gym. I'm trying to shrink the shoulds in my life.
Yeah.
And one of the shoulds.
Well, I was just curious if if you think you have a hyper-masculine father and if you think you pursue masculinity. Because I would say I, by our definitions, have a hyper-masculine father.
Yeah.
And I think when you grow up, a lot of times your father is your hero, absolute hero.
Yeah.
And so I, probably through till today, I've spent the last 32 years, one of the things I pursue aggressively is being masculine and strong and being able to provide and protect. And I think for me, it probably comes from wanting to be like my father, loved by my father.
I
I'm just curious if I don't know enough about you and your dad.
Yeah,
if you
no,
have
I
the
think
same-
that's true as well. I mean, my dad is taller than me. He was more athletic than me. He was on the varsity basketball player, got a scholarship to university. Like he did at the age that I was growing up, he was cooler, more athletic, and better in every way than I was at the age.
Did it make you want to go, screw this, I'm going to do something else? Or did it make you want to go, I want to do this, I want to be like him?
Both. It was both. It was like a frustrated attempt to be like him, I think.
And then to excel in other areas because
And
it wasn't
then
working?
I quit for a while, and I was like, I hate piano, I hate this, I hate basket, and I quit everything that he did. I quit it all, and then I came back to it at around age 16, and was like, okay, I'm gonna try guitar. Okay, I'm gonna try to be good at basketball. Okay, I'm gonna try to, have women, like girls for the first time, because I just ignored them for my entire preteen years.
Do you think every guy has this in some? Not, and by the way, I don't mean biologically. I just mean, do you think that men in America, because of the way we're raised on the whole, pursue masculinity because we want to be like our fathers and we want to be loved by our fathers?
I can't say every, because some people do not have.
Angel shaking his head. Angel, weigh in.
So I usually don't speak up, but I had a pretty hyper masculine father too, but I didn't have a great relationship with him. So growing up, I actually very much rejected masculinity.
Yeah.
I sort of pursued the quote unquote feminine, and I always was like really into shopping and fashion and like things that I thought were feminine. I kind of did it on purpose to piss people off in my life.
Got it. Because you weren't close to your dad. That's fascinating. Because I do think I think there can be a rejection of your parents as well.
Absolutely.
I think they either influence you on what to move towards, or they can swing you away. I don't think anyone's neutral on their parents, but I totally buy this. Like, I think there's a lot of people who probably go, I hate this person and I'm going to be the opposite.
I have to think more about it. It's really interesting because what I'm hearing is that we're saying there might be some biology in here, which is certainly worth considering because there's a lot of biology in everything. There's definitely some culture in here because we've watched this definition shift, but also whether or not it becomes an ideal of yours has to do with your particular circumstances, especially how they relate to your same-sex parent. And I'm sure the analog is true for femininity in many ways for people as well. I don't have personal experience, trying to do that. But yeah, the person that
Isn't that interesting? I wonder why that is.
What?
Like, you can love your mom, but it doesn't make you want to be more feminine necessarily.
Well, I think what it does is it defines the type of love that you look for in women
Yeah, sure, but
don't look for or run from, right?
Yes. But it doesn't make you want. You can love both parents just as much, but you don't want to move towards feminine necessarily.
Well, whether this is cultural, biological, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Angel, were you close to your mom?
Yeah, very. I was raised by a single mom mostly, so yeah.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
Did you emulate her in her? Obviously, you took after her in many ways because she was your mother. But do you feel like, in the same way that we're describing, that like Ben tried to become like his dad and
actually
like mine?
No, because she was a single mother, I was sort of expected to step up and be the man of the house.
Interesting. But
I didn't want to, so I was like, no, that's not happening.
So complicated. This is part of why I don't want to have a kid. It's so complicated. It's so much. There's nature. There's nurture. There's so much stuff. You can try your best, and it's just so hard.
Yeah.
What makes a person who they are as an adult is so complicated.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is worth
sharing,
more
Angel.
thought.
Appreciate you chiming in.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you
no
chiming
problem.
in. It's a good. Ben and I have the
Thanks
same.
for hearing me out.
So-
No, yeah. No, that's why I saw him shaking his head. I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, Ben and I are too similar sometimes. But I do think that it is important, at least at this point in my life, and for many people, to pause, step back, and not just with masculinity, but towards all of the goals that they're asking, and ask, how did this idea get put into my head, and is it one that is improving my life to
why am I
continue
pursuing
to
this?
strive? And you can ultimately continue down the same path. But as I've unpackaged and reflected, my idea of masculinity was a lot of the things that you described, but plus one you didn't, which is making women happy. Like the most masculine man in my eyes is the one that all the women love and all the women want to be around and everybody likes him.
But not just all the women want to sleep with. For you, it was all the women want to sleep with and want to date and want to stay with and want to and like.
Yeah. It wasn't like a player.
Yeah. Because someone could define masculine as just the guy that sleeps with the most women and then he treats them poorly, but they still like him. And that could be that. Oh yeah, that's
that
for you. It was like I care
case.
for them. They adore me.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, which is my mom, right?
Yeah.